This is pretty incredible. This shipped from Barcelona, Spain to Portland, Oregon in 2 days. Yeah. Let's see what it is. Just open, probably by customs. Inside is no box, of course. Inside that is a really nice gig bag. Let's see here. Ta-da! Foam. E1.6 Priestess. Stay tuned for a crappy demo and a review with some information about how to be a smarter consumer than me. Stay tuned. It's one of the spots you kind of make your money back. Pretty cheap electronics. A little bit of bad routing there, but all the cavities are, they all have the paint, shielded paint, so that's good. And there's the block. It's not a big block, it's a longer block. Instead of the usual 32mm, it's a 34mm, but it's still the little skinny, typical Floyd Rose 1000 block. The cool thing they do though is these. They're little inserts inside the springs. Some kind of plastic tubing or something. Keeps them silent. It's a really easy way of doing it instead of buying the coated springs. So that's pretty nice. Yeah. It's hard to see it in this light. Probably this finish is, it's pretty thick. I mean, it's got a real, almost plastic feel, but I mean, it's a satin polyester finish, you know. Still feels good. All right, little playing demo coming up soon. Okay, quick final review here. Solar Priestess 1.6 Marzi Montazeri signature guitar. And let me explain about the being a better consumer than me. I bought this on a Saturday night. I believe it was actually Halloween, and it was after midnight, kind of on a whim. They had it in stock. I was like, I'm just gonna get it. There was some alcohol involved, I would say. Anyways, next day was kind of like, that's really not smart. Total, buyer's remorse kind of immediately. And sent them a message like, can you cancel my order, please? By the time they might have gotten it Monday morning, the factory or the warehouse in Barcelona, Spain had already packed it up, got it ready for shipping, and was out to the custom agent. It was like, oh, well, yeah, so it's coming. But it went from Barcelona, Spain to Portland, Oregon on the west coast of the US in 2 days. And shipping wasn't that much. It was like $41 or something, but then there was duty and customs tax on it, which was 66 something. So about 100 and close to 110 for overall shipping at the end. And so I just was like, oh, well, I'm just going to have to turn around and send it back or something and pay for the shipping out of pocket. No. It says very clearly on the Solar website, if you read the fine print, no returns outside of EU countries. So I think that might be why there's not a lot of these in the States. You're buying something sight unseen. It's not something you can go try out anywhere, and there's no return policy, so you're kind of stuck with it. That's not to say that Solar isn't great. I'm not saying that's a problem of theirs or anything. It's not a diss on them at all. It's just fact, and that's what I mean about being a smart consumer. If I had read that and seen that on the website and knew what their return policy was, I probably wouldn't have ordered this at all. Alcohol or none, late at night or not, in stock or not. So that is what it is, okay? So just be aware of that. If you're outside of EU, there's no return policy with the Solar guitars at all. That's what it says on their website. So, and I think that's totally understandable. And it's very clearly stated, so totally fair. That's right up front. Okay, so about the guitar. Alder body, maple neck. It's a set-in neck. It's not a complete neck through, although the center section here is raised like on a Firebird. It's an Explorer type body, E body, whatever. It's got a weird weight thing to it though, mainly probably because it's actually 25.5 inch scale. It's not typical Gibson scale length, 24 3/4 inch. And it's got 24 frets. So it's just more neck sticking out. And then there's kind of a bit more of a route here. It's really easy to get up to these 24 frets, which is really nice. But as a result, it's neck heavy. I had a wider strap with a lot less friction on it that I was wearing at first, and the thing would just dive if I let go of it. Now, when you're standing up, your arms, kind of planted back here. But even sitting down, you can just see it just dives, it just pitches, which is probably why Marzi's holding it classical style in the Coffee with Ola video, so it doesn't do that. But to give people kind of my impression of this, so that if you do think about buying it, in the States or anything like that, that you'll have a good idea. This neck, I really like. I was worried it'd be like some kind of really thin shreddery neck. If it's flat at all, I really don't like those. This is a nice round C. It is thicker than the Paul Reed Smith Dusty Wearing, which I also really like, and is a pretty skinny neck. But this feels a bit thicker and a bit kind of wider, I think, somehow. The nut is really, really nicely done, really flush there with the fingerboard. It looks like a big piece of ebony on the fingerboard, but it might have binding. It's kind of hard to be absolutely certain because it's really dark around it. Maybe there's binding to it, but the inlays are done really well. There's no sloppy glue or gaps or anything. Even this, I think this one's set in with something around it. There's a little black line around the 12th fret one, which is pretty intricate, but the rest of it, really well done. Fretwork on it is immaculate. This is an Indonesian-made guitar, and I'm really, really, I'm impressed. The quality is really good. Stainless steel frets, 24 frets, like I said, 25.5 inch scale. So kind of meets some of the things I wanted in a sort of pseudo shredder. I don't want a super skinny neck. I did want 24 frets, and I wanted to try something stainless steel. These are, and I had tried one previously with the Chapman V, the MLV Pro. And again, those frets were pretty smooth and everything too, but this is even better. And this neck is much more to my liking. I will say the tuners on this are really close together up here because of the Solar headstock design, so they can be kind of tricky turning them, and they're a little bit stiff, but stiffened just the right way. Like they hold tuning pretty well and everything. They're locking tuners, or Solar branded locking tuners. The finish, which is a satin, has kind of I don't think you can see that. Maybe if I get it in just the right spot. See those little dings there at the top? Yeah, I've already dinged it. I've had it less than 2 weeks. The finish is this satin all over it. It does feel a little bit plasticky in a way, and I think it's kind of soft. I mean, those are pretty minor touches up there that got dings on them. There's just the tiniest bit of roughness in the finish along this back edge. But that's about it. The rest of it's pretty smooth. Not at all like the Chapman had that whole back on the V that was rough feeling in there with their satin. This feels like it's a bit thicker kind of finish, but satin overall. The bevels are really comfortable for when you're playing. Not a lot of problems with that. Like I said, really easy to get up here to the top, 24th fret. So the Duncan Solar pickups, which are, they're Duncan designed really. They're an import pickup. Not sure what I think about them. To the playing portion was the first time I'd plugged this in. Seems like there's an awful lot of mid in this bridge pickup, but I don't know, could have just been how I had the amp set. With certain of my pedals, it really pushes the mid-range on the Marshall, and I've got it cranked anyways, the mid-range on it, so might just be too much. They've got volume, and tone. I forgot to check, I think it's the bridge. I forgot to check that when I was doing the playing example. This one has a push-pull, and it's a coil tap, but only for the neck, which I tried to make kind of clear in the playing part. It doesn't do anything to the bridge pickup at all. In the in-between position, it makes a difference because you've got the single with the double, and then, of course, in the neck position, you go from the humbucker to the single. So that's the only thing it does is affects this one. The routes on this, like I showed in the when I was kind of restringing and setting it up. Well, I wasn't restringing it. It came shipped, and I'll talk about that in a second. This cavity is a little bit rough inside, but all the cavities are paint shielded. They look great. And all of these plates are recessed, which it's really nice. Strangely, the Paul Reed Smith, the tremolo plate actually is not recessed on that one. I find it a little bit strange. But it's also a really thin body on the Paul Reed Smith with the Floyd through it, so maybe it's to make sure there's enough room for the block. Who knows? Something as simple as that, maybe. What else? This is the Floyd 1000. It says it comes with an oversized block. Well, it's the same skinny little block that comes on import Floyds. It's just that it's 34 millimeters instead of the usual 32, so it's a little bit deeper in the body. It's also, that's kind of a strange size for Floyds, apparently. If you go to the Floyd Rose site to buy a big block of all, they have 32 millimeters, 37 millimeters, 40 millimeters. There's no 34 millimeter. Kind of weird, but the block is branded Floyd Rose and says 34 on it. I checked it. You could fit a 37 in here. There's plenty of room in the cavity back here. You could probably go down to a 32 even because the route's deep enough, I think. And it wouldn't be that big of a deal. Lumen light side dot inlays for dark stages, which is great. Yeah, overall, I'm really, really impressed with the guitar, aside from that little slight balance issue, but that's mainly just the thing when I'm sitting down, and like I said, your arm resting on it when you're playing just kind of balances it out. Look, here, I'm not even holding the neck, and it's just fine. The neck is really quite comfortable and really easy to get up here, like I've said several times. It's a C, it's kind of a modern C, it's very rounded, there's no flat area across the back or anything like that, there's no real V to it or anything like that. Very smooth, very rounded. Like I said, a bit thicker kind of than the Paul Reed Smith that I have, which I think is based on a pattern thin. Nowhere near as skinny as any kind of Ibanez or anything. So yeah, it's really comfortable to me. It's what I would like. So it's something just to kind of be aware of. It says, fast, thin neck, and that's all it says on there. I don't know if all the other Solar necks are like this, or if this is more Marzi's, profile that he wanted on his guitar. But at any rate, it's nice, it's comfortable, I like playing on it. So, and I'm not into super, super skinny necks, especially not flat ones. All right, well, hope you enjoyed it. Sorry for talking so much again, and if you enjoyed the video, hit the like button and hit the subscribe button if you want to catch them more when I post them, because it's pretty rare. I try and post more and more, but All right, thanks very much for watching.